Time's up. Have your own.
Here it comes.
Chevron 1, coded.
For my ally is the Force, and the powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow.
You failed your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Cry havoc, and let's set the dogs of war.
Chevron 2 is coded.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, to hear the lamentation of your women.
It's on the reflexes.
I'll also say that you're heavy into martial arts, Tai Chi and all that killer stuff.
I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
Chevron 3 encoded.
And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I will.
Chevron 4 encoded.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Chevron 5 encoded.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Chevron 6 encoded.
Not for while you can, monkey boy.
Great Scott!
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
You shall not pass! I thought I'd die fighting side by side for now.
What about side by side with a friend?
The day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day.
Chevron 7 is locked.
It's been a while since we got to pull into the drive-in. Welcome to Saturday Night Drive-In, everybody. I am Adam, Renaissance Nerd, joined as always by Jed, the Hollywood Scholar, my faithful. What are you? I'm not even sure.
I don't know what. Yeah, we're
I'm
boyfriend.
not sure anymore. Well, I guess we're not as dermy gay, but maybe we are gay. I don't know.
I don't know. It's hard to tell these days.
We are joined by Fear the Beardo, member of Geeks and Gamers, member of Sports Wars. Welcome, Beardo. Glad to have you here, dude.
How's it going, man? Yeah, it's cool to be here. Me and Jed just brushed up on Tropic Thunder the other night, so we are fresh and ready to go to discuss this. But thanks for having me on, man. This is cool.
No, I'm happy to have you here. Always happy to bring new, fresh blood into talking about fun movies, because that's what this show's about. We're here to talk about fun stuff. Take a break from all the nonsense out there and celebrate the good shit. Let's just say hi to the chat real quick, because we only have Beardo for a short time. So we're just going to dive right in. Quick hi to everybody. Hail the Goddess and JB and Mustang, my mods, my regulars. Hail to you, Algrim the Strong. Good sir. Always happy to have you here. Let's see. I see who else. Clinton Hosh, hello. And anybody else just chilling, watching. We know it's always busy now on a Saturday afternoon. We're happy to have you here, whether it's here or on the re-uploaded replay, which is what I'm going to go back to doing when we're done. And quick answer JB's question. It's always the opener, JB. This is always the opener. I always put the modified opener, and then we start with and I put the closer so we can get out clean. All right, let's dive right in. Jed, this was your pick this week. We're finally here. It took 3 weeks to get back.
Yeah, it was a little ridiculous.
Get us going. Tropic Thunder. Some call it a modern day comedy classic.
It is absolutely a comedy classic without question, at least in my opinion. I saw this movie for the first time about a year, maybe 2 years ago, and I think it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. There are so many little jokes and some talented writing, some basic setup and payoff that at the time may not have seemed that unique or special, but compared to modern day films, it just really stands out above the rest. And then, of course, it's a very topical movie in this current day and time, partially because of the political incorrectness and partly because it's back in the news cycle because of Ben Stiller coming out and says he does not apologize for anything he did in this movie. And it's kind of a ballsy move considering the man was just in Bros. So it's kind of hard to tell with him these days, but he made an incredible movie. So I have to give him props for that and props for staying behind it as well.
And I just want to say that, put it out there, I am not a fan of Ben Stiller. I'm not. So it's always to go into a Ben Stiller movie, that's always sitting on my shoulder. Beardo, when did you first see Tropic Thunder?
I saw Tropic Thunder probably the first time maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Probably shortly after. Actually, you know what? It might have been when I was in high school. At this point, I forget when I was actually in high school. I'm getting up there in age, but
according to Steph, that was the 80s.
I know. So when Steph first met me, she goes, "I thought you were older than Jeremy." I'm like, "I am in my 20s." Okay, I'm in my 20s. I know I look like a 35-year-old fucking man, but I am in my 20s.
Yeah, I'm the old man on this panel right now.
Yeah. So I've seen it a few times over the course of the past few years, and Jed is absolutely right. This movie is a comedy classic, and when certain movies that kind of like are a little bit, they say that certain movies couldn't be made today, like Blazing Saddles, a lot of Mel Brooks movies, Tropic Thunder. A lot of people, it kind of gets into this conversation, and props to Ben Stiller for sticking up and standing by his word and standing by his masterpiece that he doesn't want to apologize for it. And especially when guys like Robert Downey Jr. has gone on the Joe Rogan podcast, and Joe Rogan has kind of like said, like, do you think this movie could be made today? And Robert Downey Jr. is like, yeah, I don't know. And, talking to Robert Downey Jr. about his character in the movie, and he goes, I kind of got lucky by not getting a lot of the backlash by playing, a black-faced character. A lot of the backlash went to Ben Stiller for Simple Jack. So just there's so many hidden gems in this movie, especially in the beginning when they just roll through these actors,
those fake trailers,
the fake trailers, just so many golden moments, just starting it off, and the fact that just impromptu. I guess I mean, you don't care about spoilers, right? The movie's been out for a long time. Just the director just dies in the very beginning of the movie, like
that
10
surprised
minutes
me.
into the movie, the director just blows up. And they're like, oh, yeah, and Ben Stiller's, like, licking the head. Just so many golden moments, and just, Tom Cruise in heavy, heavy makeup and in a fat suit. He's got the enlarged hands and
sausage fingers.
It's just so many brilliant moments of this, of the movie. So it's an instant comedy classic, and it's, no, I don't think it could be made today, but it's fantastic.
No. Well, some people in the chat may know this, but it was actually Tom Cruise's idea to wear the fat suit and to dance. Originally, Ben Stiller approached him and being like very much trying to be amenable. It's like, hey, I got this movie. We can do whatever you want. I just want you in the movie. However you feel like I got this character. And Tom Cruise came back and he's like, I'll do this on one condition. I get to be fat and I get to dance. And Ben Stiller actually thought it was a bad idea, but he decided to go with it because it's Tom Cruise. You don't say no to Tom Cruise. And he says it is the greatest decision of his life is to go with Tom Cruise and not go with his gut.
You guys mentioned how topical it is. That is, we can dive right in and let's talk about Tom Cruise real quick after I say this one thing. I have seen this in bits and pieces over the years. I confirmed that rewatching it yesterday. This is the first time I've done a literal beginning to end watch. And this movie fits into such a unique thing where it is literally in the zeitgeist of pop culture, from the don't go full retard meme, the Simple Jack memes, several other jokes throughout this.
Oh yeah.
It's part of our meme cultural zeitgeist, and it's never going away. So that's how important, I mean, whether or not I'm probably going to rate this a little bit lower than you guys in the end, but it's an important movie in terms of comedy, because like it can't be anymore. And its importance reflects in how it's in our culture, and it's always going to be there now. And there's nothing the woke tards can do about it. Blackface Robert Downey Jr. is there forever. And he can't stop it.
The fact that in the movie there's an actual person of color, a black guy, who says the N-word, and Robert Downey Jr., the guy, slaps him, hugs him, and said, that word has been holding us back. Come on. It's golden. It's golden. Yeah. And the ensemble of well-known A-list actors in this
Yeah.
movie: Jack Black, Ben Stiller, Robert Downey Jr., Matthew McConaughey, Tom Cruise, and they even brought in Tobey Maguire for one
For
of those
that
fake trailers.
Yeah.
And he's in there for like what, 30 seconds, and just
Just
the
to be gay.
ensemble cast, and just the amount of people, like, you know, and sometimes those ensemble movies work, sometimes they don't. Like they worked in you guys remember the movie This Is the End?
I love that movie.
I didn't watch that. It's
so
a good watch. It's a good watch. I mean, say what you want about Seth Rogen now.
That's the problem. I can't watch any Seth Rogen movies.
But Seth Rogen, like 10, 15 years ago, he actually put out some good stuff, like Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
This Is the End. Those kind of ensemble movies worked, and this felt different. It was an ensemble movie, but it was, it just felt different, and it's very unique.
But again, the topical of Tom Cruise, you do what Tom Cruise wants. And that kind of feels so relevant, where Tom Cruise, as many of us say these days, is the last remaining Hollywood superstar.
Yeah.
That can draw people in. So if he's giving you notes, can I do this? You kind of listen to him. And we see now, this is what? 2008, 12, 3, 15 years ago, this movie. 15 years ago. You still kind of want to listen to what Tom Cruise has to say, because he's going to give you, he understands what the audience wants. And that innate feeling, he knew that the audience would get a massive kick out of him in a fat suit, all hairy, and then that final little weird dance scene before the ending credits.
Yeah.
And then the in-your-face intensity of his behavior in the movie, he knew it was going to work. And many people say that is the best thing in the movie sometimes.
Yeah.
His moments.
I definitely see it.
Yeah. All right. So, Jed, walk us into it now. What are we doing in this movie? What's going on?
Well, so Tropic Thunder follows a almost washed up actor in Ben Stiller's character. He's kind of at the end of his rope. His movies aren't as popular. His Scorcher series is failing at the box office. So he's coming together for this last big hurrah to try to restart his movie career with a movie called Tropic Thunder in the universe. He gets a great cast together. Director Tom Cruise is the producer, and they're trying to make the movie out in Vietnam because it's a true story, at least believed to be a true story, of some events that happened during the Vietnam War. And things go awry when the director decides to get a little too practical with the movie, and the actors in the film get stranded in the jungle with fake guns as a bunch of drug dealers come after them, thinking that they're CIA or American military. And just shenanigans ensue as they try to survive this hellish jungle, very similar to the actual Vietnam War. And it's so great. It's so stupid, but it's great.
Yeah. Let's see. So let's run through the characters. We have Ben Stiller's Tug Speedman, as Jed said, the almost washed up actor he's an action star in this thing. He can't go get it. You got Jack Black's Jeff Portnoy, who's just a one-trick pony comedian with the fart movies, basically spoofing Eddie Murphy's movies at the time. And then you got RDJ's Kirk Lazarus, who is supposed to be their ultimate thespian, where he can just play anything, and his trick is to completely immerse himself in that role.
He's a method actor.
Yeah. And he just goes so over the top. I mean, there's so many great lines when they're trying to break him out of it the whole movie. And at one point he says, "You gonna stop talking like this out when they realize they're in the shit? Are you gonna stop talking about this?" "No, I don't stop talking like this till the Blu-rays hit the market." I say, and that's like another 3 to 4 months until they get Blu-rays out. So it's after it releases. So and he's an Australian playing all these crazy ass things. So and then you got the other guys who were there, Al Pacino, Kevin. After that, it's kind of. You even got freaking what's his name? Jeez. What's his name? Who's playing his agent? I suddenly forgot his name.
Matthew McConaughey.
McConaughey, yeah. Got McConaughey playing the agent.
No TiVo.
I mean, that whole TiVo joke.
Yep.
Now, of course, that completely dates is with TiVo.
I didn't even know what it was before seeing this movie. I'd never heard of TiVo.
God.
Oh man, I remember TiVo. I remember growing up and having TiVo. It was the greatest thing since sliced bread. It was like you can pause TV and fast forward and rewind. Holy shit, you can pause live TV. It was huge. And then like DVR, being able to record it and going back and watching it later. TiVo was a big deal back in the day.
I was already a pirate back then, and guys, I was already pausing and moving shit around. So I skipped over TiVo and just went straight to piracy. I'm going to admit that. I'm not going to lie. What was my friend? A buddy of mine said, here's how a torrent works. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going to do this. I don't have to watch on the night of something coming on. Hey, great. I can wait till the weekend. Fun. But yeah, Mavkai. And then, I didn't realize that was Nick Nolte until about 10 minutes in. For a minute, I thought it was Josh Brolin because I see Josh Brolin and everything these days. And then I got to go back, wait, that's Nick Nolte before he really lost it. Okay. And who is the fake veteran, as we learn halfway through. So these characters, it brings us back to what Jed said. It's topical. They are hyper over-the-top versions of all the type of actors you'll see these days. And they ham it up pretty well. I really like the first act and the setup. For me, the second act drags a little bit when everybody gets separated. Although there are the funny moments, like some of the kind of moments. But to me, the movie, I'm able to say that in the end, I enjoy this movie because the third act sticks to landing.
Right.
When they realize they're all in trouble, and when Tug is being captured by, what are they? The Flaming Dawn is what they're called?
Dragon.
The Flaming Dragon.
Flaming Dragon.
This is Flaming Dragon.
I don't give a fuck who you are.
It's so great.
Okay, okay, Flaming Dragon. I'm gonna need you to take a step away from your phone real quick and fuck your own face.
I love it how he hangs up and goes, find out who they were.
Find out who they were.
I know who they were.
He waits until then. But real fast before you move on, I want to piggyback off what you said a moment ago, how these are exaggerated versions of modern day actors, because that's actually something that Ben Stiller said back in 2013 when there was some initial criticism of the movie, when it comes back up every 10 years that people try to cancel it. And he said, I don't need to apologize for the caricatures of disabled people or blackface because I'm not making fun of black people or disabled people. I'm making fun of actors. And that's always going to be okay. Yeah. So this movie is 100% a parody of Hollywood more than anything. It's kind of a parody of war movies, but I think it's more just mocking Hollywood. And that's something we absolutely need right now because of how horrific Hollywood is, how many dog shit movies they put out, and just their general behavior towards fans. We need to enjoy someone riffing at them a little bit, especially when it's themselves who are making fun of themselves. A little self-awareness goes a long way, especially in the current climate.
Yeah, I want to just go over the first and second acts real quick because while we have Beardo, I want to go into the third act where everything just comes together in insanity. Yeah. So the first act, I thought here's how again somebody can take the joke when they're showing off Kirk Lazarus, RDJ's character, and they show him as the party or the debauchery. That was Robert Downey Jr. for half his life, and to show you that he can take that kind of inside joke and say, yeah, I'll play that guy because I was that guy and I'm not so sensitive that you can't tease me about it.
Oh yeah.
Because he rebuilt himself. And that's one of those feel good stories of a comeback where Robert Downey Jr. rebuilt his career, rebuilt himself as a person to not be an addicted self-destructive individual. So I like that. Jack Black making fun of himself as, I'm kind of the gross comedy guy. Where I'm always the fat guy running around doing shit. Yeah, I'll ham it up. And Ben Stiller, the over-the-top comedy drama with Simple Jack and that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that they were able to do that. And I like that first. And then first, that's kind of the setup where everything's falling apart. They screw up the massive special effects. And we got to give a shout out to where's
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride. I always forget Danny McBride's name lately. Yeah. That's been going on for like 2 weeks now. Danny McBride is just Danny McBride. He's just being Danny McBride.
Also, another cool little aspect of it, too, it showed how out of touch these actors are at first. Like when shit first hits the fan, it doesn't really click with them at first what the hell is going on, because these are actors and they're, you know, they sit in their ivory towers with silver spoon in hand. You know, they don't know what anything is like in the real fucking world. And Ben Stiller really kind of drives that home when shit does hit the fan. They're kind of like, oh no, this is all fake. You know, well, you see, this is a fake head, and just like, yeah, it like none of them take it seriously except for maybe Robert Downey Jr., but he's always in character because he's method acting. But it really drives it home. It's like these actors like really have no fucking clue what's really going on in the real world. And when shit hit the fan, they were like, "Oh, it didn't register with them." And that the way that he portrayed that in the film was beautifully done.
And the realizations, I really did like Jack Black's descent into madness as he loses his drugs and he starts breaking down. And I love the speech at the beginning of the third act where he's telling Al Pacino, "Dude, I'm gonna lose it. You have to tie me up because I'm gonna say all these things. I'm gonna be fine, and it's not gonna happen." We've all seen the whole cold turkey method, how the going drying up. Everybody's gonna sober and say, "Oh, I'm fine," but then the things he says when he is finally tied up, when they're trying to get talking about, "I will suck you dry. I will suck the marrow.
I will cradle the balls.
I will swallow the whole load." It's just like, no. Considering all the humor we get surrounding our sphere with that kind of stuff lately, it just that hit home when I saw it. It's like, oh man, I would do that. And then during the attack on the Flaming Dragon camp, when they're all pulling out their guns, when he's reaching around inside his Speedo for that 45, it's like, or 9 mil, I don't know, it's like, like I'm thinking, what is he doing? And he pulls it. I'm like, that was, to quote our friend Dane, that was in the prison. That was deep in the prison wallet. That was deep in the prison wallet. But let's talk about that. Let's get into the third act. The second act has some of the great classic. It has the don't go full retard stuff. And to Jed's really good to talk about payoff. I just want to go to that real quick. Jed, you talk about the payoff. That whole scene, that there is something to that scene besides the joke, don't go full retard. How acting is one part committing to it, but another part keeping it real. And then, or also disconnecting yourself from it or going too deep in that you're not in there. And I liked it. I bet you liked it too when they're watching Tug put on the Simple Jack performance for the Flaming Dragon. And it's just at first so that's out of the mind. Oh god damn, that is just this is it's cringe as hell. But when Kirk is watching him and he says, he didn't go full retard. You see, he's finding that balance. And then I forget who it was, or was it Steve? Kevin goes, "Shut up! It doesn't
matter.
It doesn't matter." But I like it that was a follow through to that in that just little moment, but at the same time holding that unrealistic actor bullshit. There's a horrible situation here where he's captured, but he's taking the time to respect that he's got the actor. But it's just, what does it matter? He's in trouble. And again, to follow through when they're trying to rescue Tug, when it's all going to shit, and you think he's going to have that moment of he's being real with them, and he's connecting, and he's going to break through, and Tug decides to remain Stockholm Syndrome in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still here. This is my place. It's just, I mean, Beardo, when that third act starts, when they speak in Chinese in front of it, in the broken Chinese,
RDJ.
When RDJ preaching the broken Chinese, how are you feeling during that moment? Realize what did the countdown to? This all goes wrong.
It's so fucking funny because he plays into the character of RDJ is really. I think they even say it in the movie, like he's playing the guy who's playing a guy who's playing another guy. Like he really is, and he's taking just like the bare minimum of what he knows, like through his acting experience of, he does know a little bit of Vietnamese, so he's trying to just communicate with them as much as he can, and he's just saying random nonsense, just random fucking bullshit to him, just trying to communicate with them, but like. he is such the character is such a method actor. He's like really trying his hardest to like
and
fit
he's
in.
emoting with just his eyes.
Yes,
with
yes.
and that's
So
I really
well done.
thought that.
I believe he even put on like some like eye makeup.
He
some,
put
like,
some extra eye
eyeliners and
makeup
stuff.
on there to
Yes.
accentuate it. He did.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it's just brilliant, man. It's so well done, and just I think where we are at with current day comedies, I think what we kind of need to break out of this just unfortunate spell that we're in right now is we need another one of these type of movies to come out that is almost borderline cancelable, but like that is widely accepted. That like a whole bunch of people just say, you know what, that was a good fucking funny movie. It was hilarious, and it made me cry laughing. It just we need that, because you see so many comedies that people are just sick and tired with a lot of just like the politics and the lunacy going on with some of these comedies. Just the writing is not good. Like a well-written racy comedy with some like, you know, pushing
That gives no F's. Gives no.
Correct.
Like, we don't give a shit.
That is something we desperately need right now. And if Tropic Thunder, man, like I know we're saying if Tropic Thunder came out today, or if they tried to make it today, it would never happen. But it's like we almost need, like, everybody just like there should be like a national holiday where people like we have to sit down and watch Tropic Thunder, like as a country. It's like, okay, now it's legally you have to watch Tropic Thunder
And understand it's okay to laugh. I
Right.
mean, you know, what you're saying here is interesting. We might be, we all have our different perspective on where we are on the hill and valley of this woke tard SJW era we live in. And you bring up a great point, Beardo, where there may be a movie coming out at some point that will be what I like to call the door breaker, the door buster, where it's going to bust down the door and it's going to say it's over. And what it's going to be, since we're talking about topical, it's going to be somebody that says, I'm going to grab every one of these SJW tropes, every one of these goddamn memes, and I am going to just run with it. And remembering, as Gary says all the time, this is the shit you should be making fun of. It's right there. It is so memeable.
I can see somebody like a Russell Brand making a movie like that, because Russell Brand, I mean, he's had his fair share of, you know, not starring in comedies but co-starring in comedies, but he is super like real woke, the real woke, not like woke, but like he is like the real kind of woke, and his podcast is kind of popping off and everything. He has a lot of very conservative, controversial, some would say controversial views now, that amongst you know, middle right wingers, conservatives, people are like looking at Russell Brand and like, man, this guy is really, you know, kind of woken up compared to who Russell Brand was, you know, 15 years ago. Like I could totally see Russell Brand coming out with like one of these door breaker movies that you're talking about,
and put Dave Chappelle in.
Dave Chappelle too, yeah. A lot of these guys,
who don't give a shit, we're done with this.
A lot of these modern day comedians, too, these stand up, like the people who are surviving stand up, are doing it the right way. They're not giving into this cancel culture like Theo Von's, the Chris D'Elia's, and stuff like that. Like those kind of comedians, even Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan, like those guys are not on board with this current kind of fucking movement,
because they grew up watching Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, when they were at their peak of just being funny and just telling the hard humor. What's
his name? George Carlin. I was just gonna say
all
George
that
Carlin
stuff.
as well. Yeah.
And they realize if they don't become the next generation for these up and coming comics to say it's okay to push the boundaries, it's okay to make fun of everybody. If you're making fun of everybody, then you're doing your job.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
Make fun of yourself a little bit.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like RDJ did. Like RDJ, he leaned into the fact that like I had been there, done that, and you know, let's poke fun at it. You have to, if you're gonna make fun of other people, you got to be willing to make fun of yourself a little bit.
Absolutely.
And that third act is making fun of themselves, because that's why I say the third act saves this movie for me, because it shows these tiny little character evolutions where Jack Black, all he wants to do is find the heroin. He grabs little leader kid and says, take me to the drugs. And everyone's like, wait, what? That's not the plan. And he runs off with him and then has the fight with him. That was just absurd. And then he sees the heroin pyramid. and he goes all Raiders of the Lost Ark up in front of it, and he's about to touch it. He's like, you can't stop it. And then, who was it that came in? Kevin comes in and breaks him out of it. And he's, you don't understand. I need this. It's all I have. No, you got me into this. You're my favorite comedian. And then the two terrorists come in. Timmy drags him in, and he runs out. And I realized he's got handfuls of heroin. It's going in their faces. And he shoves it in their face and passes on. He goes, don't worry. They'll be out for 16 hours. We'll be fine. As long as we're out of here in 16 hours, we'll be fine. But I like that little evolution. He was able to conquer that. I thought it was good. It's a nice little thing. Yet up until then, it was insane humor. And then the Kirk meltdown, or where they've gotten through to Tug, but now Kirk he's on the fritz. He's too many characters conflicting, and they break through to him, and the peeling off of all the makeup, and that's an actually good serious moment. It's comedy, it's serious within the comedy, and it's good, and it works, and it's that it did work. It's that full circle. Jed, we always talk about the payoff. It works, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, no, setup and payoff is an incredibly simple task, but is the core of basic storytelling. And so you can definitely see this is Ben Stiller at his absolute best. He's firing all cylinders, having some quality in his writing. Yeah, exactly. I've enjoyed some of his stuff, like Night in the Museum, I liked as a kid. But yeah, this is Ben Stiller at his best. And it's all the simple things. Like, I don't think I would actually appreciate this movie as much when it came out as I do now, because it gets the simple things right, like setup and payoff. Setup and payoff is devoid from modern Hollywood, unless it's the heroine's journey, as Gary puts it, of feminist finds out knows she's amazing, and then everybody finds out she's amazing. That's not really setup and payoff. But that's the best that we get these days. And there's so many little examples of it that I genuinely do believe this is a well-written movie, just as much as it is a hilarious and funny experience. Because sometimes with comedies, you can forgive a little bit of writing mistakes, writing errors, as long as it's funny. With this, you don't necessarily have to do that to the same degree as you would for a Paul Blart Mall Cop, which doesn't make any sense.
Oh, God. All right. Unfortunately, Beardo has to leave us.
I know, man. I know that this was so much fun.
Man, Ed has a straight direct line to you. If Jed mentions a movie that you want to jump in on, you are welcome back anytime, even for these 30 minutes that we just got into it.
I know. It went by so quick.
Yeah. Before we go, then, why don't you drop your rating for it? Out of 10.
Ooh, Tropic Thunder out of 10. I'd say as far as a comedy goes, and like in relation to current day comedies, I would say that this is like a good 8, like an 8.1 as far as comedy goes. This is it's maybe back then when it first originally came out, it maybe got overlooked, but it was definitely before its time, I would say, because it's kind of like what I said earlier. It's a movie we need right now. And I think it'd be very beneficial for the younger crowd, some of these Gen Zers, to go back and watch this movie and say, it's okay to laugh at this, because this is true raw comedy. It was very well written. The ensemble of actors, I just think there's so many great things about Tropic Thunder. So yeah, I give it like an 8.1.
8.1. All right. And before you go, just because you aren't going to, I was going to save this for post show, but you're not going to be here. One time you came across one of my threads on the Geeks Gamers forums. I know you're a Farscape guy.
Farscape? What's Farscape?
Farscape, didn't you?
Am I?
I believe you mentioned it in the post once.
Am I Farscape? What is that?
The sci-fi show. I swore that was you in
Come on,
in
Adam.
Post. Not me.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Okay, never mind.
More than one man has a beard.
Maybe.
I swore somebody came. I swore it was you that posted it. Never mind then. Move along.
Sorry.
Never mind. I swore it was you that posted. I swore it was you that posted in that thread.
No.
I swore it was you. Never mind. Moving on.
Me.
All right. Anyway, you're welcome back here anytime.
Yeah, man. No, this was a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting to have this much fun, but I honestly I wish I could stay longer, but I do have John Wick 4 to catch here in a little bit. So I'll talk with Jed, and hopefully I can join you guys soon for another one of these. This was awesome. Excellent. So thank you, Adam. Good luck to you and the rest of your show, and Jed, I'll talk to you later, man.
Enjoy John Wick.
Easy, man.
Dude.
Catch it easy. Yep, catch you later.
Now it's just us.
It's gay.
Yeah, it's gay. Now it's gay. Now it's gay. Now it's gay. Now it's gay. I'm not going to look you in the eyes for the rest of the show. Make it less gay.
All right. Where are you?
No. Oh, hey. No. Do not breach my fourth wall.
Do not breach.
Do not breach. Do not breach. All right. So where do we go from here? Oh, that was fun. I was really enjoying that. And then we lost it. I swore that he was the one that posted in one of my Farscape threads on the Geeks Games forums. I swore it was him. Maybe I'm confused. I swore it was him. Anyway, all right. So let's talk about the payoff, though. Let's keep going with that because we always enjoy that. There's a lot of little payoffs, both in terms of setups of the character development, but they even pay off physical moments. That final escape moment is paying off the fake moment from the beginning of the movie where they screw up the explosion take with everybody on the chopper being hanging and
they milk it for all it's worth. They take turns doing the big heroic run back. So
and the whole I'm dying fake things, like I'm cold, instead of having his legs or arms run off. No, your feet's in mud, you're fine. Oh, okay, that's good.
Then we're fine.
All right, fine. And then freaking Matthew McConaughey coming out of nowhere with the freaking TiVo. And he throws it in there. And so you know what? What more can we say? Really? What more can we say? And Jed's got to go too because there is other things going on. Maybe we should have held off another week.
Maybe. I feel bad.
We tried to cram it. Anyway, I think we got all the good stuff in here. We said all the important stuff. We said all the important stuff. And this is one of the movies to talk about it scene by scene is unnecessary. We got to the good
with
stuff.
Comedies, it doesn't really make sense.
Yes, and we talked about the culture aspects of it. And so let's just jump right to it. I'll give my score since it was Jed's week. Like Beardo, I land on an 8 out of 10 on this one. I land on an 8 out of 10 because of all the cultural stuff and the importance of what this movie represents. That's why I rated it so high. And the third act is where I did most of my laughing. The third act is where I did a lot of my laughing because it connected and it hit all the right points. But that if not the third act, it would have been lower because the second act really for me dragged a lot.
Yeah.
Of the walking in the it was a lot of setup, but I felt like they could have cut 30 minutes out of it.
It's definitely possible. I agree. Narratively, it does drag. There are a ton of great jokes in that second act, but I can totally see where you're coming from with that.
Oh, I mean, that's where the don't go full retard joke is in there. And that's classic. And that's why I said the jokes are there, but it's just the setup meandered for too long. I just felt. So that's why it loses point. That's why it loses basically half a point for the second. But the acting, the comedy, the parody is spot on. So I give it 8 out of 10. What's your score, Jed?
I have to land exactly with both you and Beardo as an 8. I usually am a lot more strict than other people, but I genuinely believe that this is a well-written movie beyond its humorous aspects, with the exception of the kind of slow second act, just like you were saying. But yeah, I love this movie. I think it's one of the greatest comedies ever made.
Well, and I'm sure we'll have a chance to come back and talk about this again on maybe some sort of compilation episode at some point. We can do. We'll talk.
It's definitely a
possibility. We can come back and talk about it. We'll talk about great comedies of that era, the era before the woke. That could be a great show. Talking about comedies before in the early aughts, mid aughts, late aughts, early teens, before everything went woke, and we can come back and maybe talk about this some more. But Jed has to go because there are fun things going on over in the Geeks Gamers house. Me, I'm eat dinner, and I'm gonna go back and be a nerd and play some more Conan. I'll be streaming that probably about an hour and a half, guys. So look for the notification. Thank you, Jed, for being here. Jed will not be here next week. Him and the Geeks Gamers gang, they're going to be at MegaCon. Is it? Is MegaCon?
Yes, it is MegaCon.
They'll be at MegaCon. So Jed will not be here as we begin our 3-week celebration of Lord of the Rings. We will be doing Fellowship of the Ring on April 1st. I already know that our friend Mustang will be joining us, and I don't think it's going to be too hard to put together a panel for Fellowship with everybody that we hang out with. Not at all. So, and then the following week, Two Towers, and then on the weekend of the re-release of Return of the King. So for the next 3 weeks, Lord of the Rings. With that said, thank everybody hanging out. If you had a good time watching live or on the replay, hit that like button, leave a comment, Share your thoughts. We hope that you come back and join us for another show. Until then, take it easy. Have a good night or day wherever you may be, and we'll catch you next time, guys. Good night.
Chevron 1, encoded.
For my ally is the Force, and the powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow.
You failed your hunt. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Cry hammer! And let's set the dogs of war!
Chevron 2 encoded.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, to hear the lamentation of your women.
It's all in the reflexes.
Well, I'll also say that you're heavy into martial arts, Tai Chi, and all that killer stuff.
I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
Chevron 3 encoded.
And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I will.
Chevron 4 encoded.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Chevron 5 encoded.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Chevron 6 encoded.
That's why you can't, little boy.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
You shall not pass!
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day.
Chevron 7 is locked.